Emma and Jace had been roommates for a year, coexisting in their cozy downtown apartment with easy camaraderie and late-night takeout rituals. Their bond was rooted in laughter and mutual respect, but under the surface a slow-burning tension simmered, an unspoken curiosity about what might lie beyond friendship. One evening, after a couple glasses of wine and a spontaneous game of truth or dare, the question finally surfaced. What if we explored this thing between us, no strings attached? Emma proposed, her voice half joking, half curious. Jace hesitated, searching her face for signs of seriousness. They laid down rules. No jealousy, no falling in love, and total honesty. It was just two friends scratching an itch, nothing more. The pact was made with laughter and a pinky swear, a moment both of them secretly felt would change everything. Their first night together was clumsy but electric. The familiarity of friendship clashed with newfound intimacy, making everything feel surreal. Jace was gentler than Emma expected, his touch tentative, as if asking for permission with every move. Emma, usually confident, found herself nervous, wondering if this would ruin what they had. Afterwards, tangled in sheets and silence, they laughed at the awkwardness and agreed it was just fun, just exploration. But as Jace brushed a strand of hair from Emma's face, a flicker of something deeper passed between them, too quick to name, too quiet to acknowledge. Neither of them spoke it aloud. The rules had been clear. Living together after crossing that line was an adjustment. Morning coffee now came with stolen glances, and Netflix nights included casual cuddles. They pretended everything was normal, even though normal had shifted. Emma told herself it was just physical chemistry, a phase they'd laugh about someday. Jace, on the other hand, found himself replaying moments in his mind, wondering what it all meant. When Jace casually mentioned going on a date with someone from work, Emma felt an unexpected pang in her chest. She masked it with a smile, reminding herself of the rules. No jealousy, but the seed of complication had been planted. It was beginning to grow. Emma started dating too, partly out of curiosity, partly to keep things balanced. Jace said nothing, but the tension between them thickened. Their physical encounters became less about fun and more about proving something. Who cared less? Who could stay detached? Yet, between the lines, their actions said otherwise. One night, after Emma came home early from a disappointing date, she found Jace on the couch. Without a word, she joined him, and they fell into each other again. This time, it was slower, deeper, like they were searching for something more. Afterwards, neither mentioned her date. But the line between physical and emotional had officially blurred. The rules that once seemed so simple now felt fragile. Jace found himself jealous of Emma's dates, even as he tried to play it cool. Emma began to analyze every look, every word between them. Their friendship was still intact, but it carried new weight, new layers. A friend's party brought things to a head. Jace saw Emma laughing with someone new and couldn't shake the knot in his stomach. When they got home, words spilled, accusations, confusion, hidden feelings. Emma yelled, "This was supposed to be easy." "Yeah, well, it's not anymore," Jace replied. The aftermath was silence. Days passed with minimal interaction. Emma retreated into herself, questioning everything. Was this all a mistake? Should they go back to being just roommates? Jace, too, wrestled with regret. Their easy rhythm was broken. One evening, he left a note on the kitchen table. "Can we talk?" Emma read it 3 times before nodding to herself. It was time to figure out what this really was and whether it was worth salvaging. Sitting on the balcony with mugs of tea, they finally talked. Really talked. No games, no rules. Emma confessed that the feelings she tried to ignore were growing. Jace admitted he hadn't been with anyone else because he couldn't stop thinking about her. It was a vulnerable, tender moment. They didn't define anything yet, but the pact was no longer just about physical exploration. It had become a journey into the emotional unknown. They decided to pause the physical side and focus on rebuilding their emotional foundation. Date nights replaced late-night hookups. They learned new things about each other. Emma's love for stargazing, Jace's fear of failing. Their relationship, once driven by rules, now thrived on honesty and vulnerability. But just as things began to stabilize, Emma's ex resurfaced with unresolved feelings, throwing everything into question again. Emma met her ex for coffee, unsure of her motives. Was it closure or temptation? Jace tried to be supportive, but old insecurities flared. Emma realized that what she had with Jace was real, messy, beautiful, and worth fighting for. She ended things firmly with her ex and returned home with clarity. Jace welcomed her with open arms and a nervous smile. They were no longer pretending. They finally agreed to give their relationship a real chance. No more games, no more half measures. They went on proper dates, introduced each other to their families, and faced the challenges of a real couple. But the transition wasn't seamless. Old habits lingered, and they sometimes struggled with vulnerability. Still, the foundation they built on friendship helped them weather the storms. Living as partners brought new challenges: chores, finances, future goals. Emma worried about giving up her independence. Jace feared becoming too dependent. They argued, made up, and learned. Their chemistry remained electric, but now it was laced with deeper emotion. Each kiss carried the weight of choice, the decision to stay, to try, to grow. Emma lost her job unexpectedly, and the stress took a toll. She withdrew, afraid of being a burden. Jace tried to help, but often said the wrong thing. They had their biggest fight yet, questioning whether they were better off as just friends. But instead of walking away, they leaned in, learning to support each other through darkness. Emma found a new job, one that inspired her. She credited Jace for believing in her when she didn't believe in herself. Jace began writing again, something he'd put off for years. They were healing, not just from recent wounds, but from fears and doubts they'd carried for years. Love, they realized, was not the absence of struggle, but choosing each other through it. One quiet night, Jace told Emma he loved her. Not in a grand gesture, but during a mundane moment, while folding laundry. Emma froze, then smiled. "I love you too," she whispered. It felt natural, inevitable. They didn't need rules anymore. They had each other. Jace was offered a writing fellowship in another city. It was his dream, but it meant 6 months away. They faced the decision together, choosing long distance rather than holding each other back. It wasn't easy. Time zones, missed calls, loneliness, but every letter and video chat reminded them why they were worth the effort. When Jace returned, the reunion was emotional. They'd grown individually and as a couple. The time apart had solidified what they wanted: each other, for real. They talked about the future, shared goals, maybe even moving somewhere new together. It wasn't about settling down. It was about building a life, side by side. They moved into a new apartment, a space that was theirs, not just shared. Every piece of furniture, every picture frame was a choice made together. They hosted friends, celebrated birthdays, and tackled the mundane with joy. Their relationship wasn't perfect, but it was real, and that was enough. One night, Emma pulled out a piece of paper. "Let's make a new pact," she said. This time, the promises were about communication, support, and love. They signed it, laughing, knowing they'd likely break some rules. But the foundation was different now, built on trust, not avoidance. Emma discovered she was pregnant. It wasn't planned, but it wasn't unwelcome either. They faced the news with a mix of fear and joy. They sat on the floor of their living room, holding hands, dreaming aloud about the kind of parents they wanted to be. Love had brought them here. It would carry them forward. As they held their newborn months later, Emma looked at Jace with tears in her eyes. "Remember when this was just a game?" Jace kissed her forehead. "Best rule we ever broke." Their journey had started with boundaries, but ended with boundless love. Two roommates, once governed by rules, now ruled by something much deeper. A love they never expected, but always needed.